Hello students, welcome you all. I am Mrs. Divya dealing with the chapter 1 reproduction in organisms, and this is the fourth lecture. So in the previous videos we have discussed about asexual reproduction. So next coming to the sexual reproduction. Okay, hope you have understood what is asexual reproduction and what are the different types of asexual reproduction in different organisms. Next we'll start with the sexual mode of reproduction in different organisms. Okay, so what is this, students? It is the transmission of genetic characteristics by two parents. Remember, here two parents of the opposite sexes, they are involved. Okay, so that is why they are transmitting their genetic information from one generation to the next generation. So we said that this sexual mode of reproduction is more advantageous over this asexual reproduction, because here you can see that it introduces variations in the populations. So these variations, they may give rise to evolution, right? And in turn that leads to speciation. That is why sexual reproduction can be seen in the complex or the more advanced type of organisms. Why? Because it introduces variations leading to evolution of new different characteristics, and that leads to formation of, in the long way, it leads to the formation of new species, that is leading to speciation. So here as I told you, why variations are formed here? Because it involves the production of sex cells, right, or gametes are produced. And here you can see, as two parents are involved, the gametes from the two parents, they fuse to form the zygote. So here the characters of both the parents, they are transferred to the next offsprings or the next generations. So this zygote, as I told you, it develops into a new offspring. So it differs from the parents in many aspects. It may have some common characteristics also, and you can see that many variations are also evolved in them. So these variations itself is called as the raw material for evolution. Okay, so we'll see first what are the differences between this asexual and sexual mode of reproduction. This is one of the important questions, children. For 3 marks or 5 marks, they may ask you the differences between asexual and sexual mode. So one thing is, asexual reproduction is uniparental, only one single parent is involved. So this is sexual reproduction is biparental. Asexual is seen in the lower organisms, whereas sexual reproduction is seen both in lower and higher organisms. That is, in the lower forms you can see primitive type of sexual reproduction. Though they don't have complex sexual reproducing structures, some primitive modes such as formation of gametes may take place, right? So primitive type of sexual reproduction is seen in the lower organisms, whereas higher organisms, they do not show asexual reproduction. So in asexual reproduction, there is no formation of gametes. Gametogenesis is absent, whereas in sexual reproduction, formation of the sex cells or the gametes, that is gametogenesis, can be seen. So asexual reproduction, as it takes place by a single parent, there are no sex cells involved, it involves only mitotic divisions. Whereas sexual reproduction shows both mitotic and meiotic. Why we say both? Because in different stages of development, such as gametes, they are formed by meiotic divisions. Then after the fusion of gametes, zygote to develop, it undergoes mitotic divisions, right? So this is seen in some of the organisms, whereas in some forms, that is in the haploid forms where the parent itself is haploid, there you can see that gamete is produced by mitotic divisions, whereas later the zygote, it undergoes meiotic divisions. That I'll explain you later. in the later part. Okay, so sexual reproduction involves both mitotic and meiotic divisions in different stages of development. There, in the asexual reproduction, the young ones formed are exactly similar. They are similar both morphologically as well as genetically, and those offsprings are called as clones. Whereas in sexual reproduction, the young ones, they are different from the parents, showing many variations. Also, some similarities might be present, but they are different from the parents. Asexual reproduction, so as the young ones formed are clones, they are exactly identical copies of their parents. They do not show any variation, okay, because there is no genetic variation involved. Hence, that does not lead to evolution. Whereas sexual reproduction, it is one of the important evolutionary factors. Yes, because of the variations, you can see different new characteristics evolve, leading to formation of new species. Okay, so this is about the characteristics of sexual reproduction and differences between sexual and asexual mode. Now we'll see sexuality in organisms, that is how the sex organs are formed and how do we differ the organisms based on their sexuality. So generally, as a part of sexual reproduction, the sexually reproducing organisms, they have the sex organs called as the gonads, right? So which are the sex organs? Generally we call them as the ovaries and the testes, right, or the testicles, which produce the sex cells or the gametes. So here, when the male and female reproductive structures are present in the same individual, remember this point, when both the reproductive structures are present in the same individual, then such individuals are said to be bisexual. These are all terms, children. It might be asked for 1 mark, definitions, okay. So you have to remember these terms. Or also differences might be asked, like differences between bisexual and unisexual, or differentiate between monoecious and dioecious forms. So here, bisexual, bi in the sense two, sexual in the sense sex organs. So both the sex organs present in the same individual is said to be bisexual. Whereas it is also called as monoecious. We don't call it as dioecious. Bi and di both are not the same, okay. Remember that. It is ulta, vice versa. So bisexual in the sense both the sex organs present in the same individual. Whereas monoecious organisms means, mono means single, okay, that is single organism is present. There is no differentiation of male and female organisms. You don't find male and female plant, only single plant is there. You don't find male animal, female animal, single animal is there. Such organisms are said to be monoecious. Hope you got the terms. In the same way, the opposite of it is unisexual and dioecious forms. When male and female reproductive structures are present in different individuals, then they are said to be unisexual. That is, unisexual, it is having only one sex organ. Or they are dioecious. Dioecious in the sense two animals are present, one male animal, one female animal. Lion you take, male lion, female lion, two different are present. Human beings, male and female. So we are said to be dioecious, or we are unisexual because having only one sex organ. Okay. So remember the differences between the two. Then coming to plants, speaking about the plants. So as I told you, in flowering plants, when a single plant has both male and female flowers, both the flowers are present, it is said to be monoecious. Monoecious in the sense single plant is there. There is no male plant different, female plant different. Okay. Example, you have coconut, maize, cucurbits, all these are monoecious plants. Whereas when a plant bears either a male flower or a female flower, then it is said to be dioecious plants. That is, two different plants are there. One is male plant, the other one is female plant. Examples you have papaya, marcantia, date palm, etc. All these are dioecious. So remember the examples what they have given in your NCERT textbook. Okay. So those examples they may ask you what are dioecious plants, give example. Okay. Then among those you can differentiate those male flowers and female flowers to be, or we can also call them to be staminate or pistillate flowers. So that is, male flower it bears only stamens, right? So it is said to be staminate flower, whereas female flower it bears only carpel or the pistil, then it is said to be pistillate flower. So this is about the higher plants, flower bearing plants. Now coming to the lower forms like algae, the fungi, here bisexual condition means it is homothalic, you call it as. Okay, in higher plants you have flowers, male flower different, female flower different, but when you speak about the lower forms like the algae or the fungi, there the plant body is not differentiated. So what do you have there? You have thallus. The plant body is said to be thallus. So on that thallus, if both the sex organs develop from the same single thallus, then it is said to be homothalic. Remember this term. Differentiate between homothalic and heterothalic condition. So if it is bisexual condition, if both the sex organs are present on the same thallus, then it is said to be homothalic condition. If two different thalli are there, one is male thallus, then the other one is female thallus, then such condition is said to be heterothalic. Remember the terms, children. Homo in the sense same, both are present on the same thallus, it is homothalic. Hetero, different, that is two different thallus are there, male thallus and female thallus, that is said to be heterothalic condition. So that is about the plants. Then when you come to primitive animals like hydra, so there also you can find primitive sort of gonads are present in hydra, the sex organs. So here there are just temporary structures. That is, whenever they go for sexual reproduction, then such these gonads develop. Okay. But whereas in the higher organisms, the gonads are permanent structures. They are retained throughout the life. Okay. So as I told you, in coelentrates, that is in the lower primitive animals, the sexually reproducing structures, sexual structures, they might be temporary in nature, whereas in the higher organisms, they are permanent because as they show only sexual reproduction. Then in some animals like earthworm, liver flukes, okay, annelids for example you take. So there you can see both the male and female sex organs are developed within a single individual, right? So what do you call such organisms as? They are hermaphrodites, or also called as bisexual, or also called as monoecious. Remember these three terms are same. Hermaphrodite, bisexual, monoecious, all same terms. So earthworms, you don't differentiate it to be male earthworm and female earthworm. Both the sex organs present in the same individual. Then in the higher organisms, the male and female sex organs are developed in different individuals, right? So you can differentiate human beings to be male and female. You differentiate a dog to be a male and female. In birds, you have different male and female birds. So it is said to be dioecious condition or unisexual animals. Okay. So in these higher organisms, the male gonads are called as the testis. So what do the testes produce? They produce the male gametes called as the sperms or the spermatozoa. Whereas the female gonads are called as the ovaries, right? And they produce the female gamete, that is the egg or the ovum. So in detail about the sexual reproduction, that is in particular human reproduction, you are studying in the next chapter. right? And in detail about the sexual reproduction in plants you are studying in the next upcoming chapters. Okay, so this is a brief introduction about the sexual reproduction in organisms. So hope you have understood the different types of sexuality in organisms, starting from the primitive forms to the higher organisms. Yes, so thank you very much. We'll continue about the sexuality in the organisms in the next module. Thank you, students.